Hello guys, hope you're having a great day today. And we've just got weird weather. I'm out here in short sleeves. It is almost 60 degrees. Feels beautiful. Uh, we should have done and had rain. We're supposed to get more. And, still calling, I think, for snow by the end of this week. Wild. I think, if I'm not mistaken, today is probably the warmest day we have seen this year of 2021. So anyway, that's not what I come on here to talk about. I want to talk about Sawmill Rations. I heard a gentleman here on YouTube, Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom, and I love to watch his travels and different things that he talks about. I just love to listen to him, and just a little quick shout out to him. But he did a video recently. It kind of triggered my imagination just a little bit. But I want to talk about Sawmill Rations. And, guys, I know very little about the countryside outside of North Carolina. I've been to Alabama one time. I've been to Virginia. I've been to Tennessee. And that's about the extent of it. Never really been no further than Alabama's probably as far away from home as I've ever been. But anyway, here in our area, back in the day, we had sawmills, and they were actually a mobile operation. And when I say that, it's not nothing like what we see today with these bandsaw mills and stuff that people have. This was actually a sawmill. Most of them were powered by diesel engine, Detroit. I think may have had some international, I'm not sure, but I know a lot of them around here had the old Detroit, which is what I love to hear. I love to hear that thing. Kind of had a mixture of a growl and a purr combined. But when that old saw got into an old log, especially an old oak log or something with a knot on it, man, I love to hear that thing get down and just gnaw. But anyway, not here to talk about that either. But when I say a mobile sawmill, they would actually take and set the mill up. It took them probably a week, or maybe even longer. I can't really remember on this part, but they would take and set the mill up and on the property that they were, cutting the timber on. And that's where you stayed till you were finished. Some of them may take a month, maybe 2 months, just depends on how much timber was there. They did make it worth their while. But they would go in, and they had people that would go and cruise it, and then you had guys that would go in and actually cut the timber down with a chainsaw, and you had guys that would snake the logs out, and I even remember them doing it with horses. The gentleman that I remember cut my grandfather's timber, he still used horses, and they snaked them out with a horse, and would get them to the sawmill, the saw and everything that was set up right there on our property, and they cut the timber up and hauled it out. Nowadays, you just hire somebody, they go in and log it, and they take all the timber by truck, haul it out, and take it to the mill site, which is done off the property. But back in that day, go on and get to what I came to. Back in that day, there was food that was kind of labeled. I just picked up a few basic things here that was labeled sawmill food or Sawmill Rations. The number one would probably be a can of sardines. And down there where the old sawmill was set up at my dad's, it's not uncommon to find these old cans laying around in the edge of the woods, as well as potted meat is another one, and Vienna sausage. We call it Vienna around here. It's pronounced Vienna, I assume, but we called it Vienna sausages. And you know, there's the other things. There's the what bulk sausage that comes in a can, and I never did like that stuff. This is probably gross enough, but I still, be honest with you, I still like to eat it once in a while. Another thing, people would just eat there was a smaller can of salmon. They would just eat a can of salmons. And of course you had to have the crackers, but the purpose behind this was something that was sealed up, that required no refrigeration, where if you were eating a sandwich or, you know, something that had the mayonnaise or the cheese or even an egg that would require refrigeration, then, you know, you didn't have that in a sawmill, especially in the summertime. Wintertime, you could probably get away with something like that, but in the summer months, this is what they eat. And, you know, they would make a meal off of this and a few soda crackers, and most of the time they had a big water cooler sitting out there, you know, with ice in it, and that's where they got their water, and they would drink that. And there used to be an old wooden keg that was down at my dad's. My grandfather used it for a kraut barrel, but the gentleman at hardware told me, he said technically it was actually used in a sawmill for drinking water. And it was, I think, if I remember right, it might have held about 25 gallons maybe, I'm not sure. But it was a wooden keg, and it had a plywood top on it with a hinge across it that you could open it up. And what they would do, they would put water, and they'd put a bag of ice in there, or an ice block, and put water in there, and that's where the guys got their water at that worked in the sawmill. And we still have that keg. The bottom's gone in it, and it, you know, it needs some TLC, and I don't know, I used to make kraut in it myself, but after the bottom went out of it, I just quit fooling with it, and I just stored it away. But that's just a part of our history, guys, that I wanted to share with you. Some people might find this interesting. Some of you might click off and say, what a stupid video. But anyway, just thought I would pass this along. This is just a part of history that, you know, people had back in the day. And it was a way of feeding themselves, and they done it for a long time. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you're having a wonderful week, wonderful day. And once this weather begins to cooperate, guys, I promise you, Lord willing, we're going to get started on a fence. I could have done some things possibly today, but with it the way it is, you don't know. And it's becoming apparent you can't depend on the weatherman. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get off of here, and y'all have a great day, and thank you from Little NC Farmer.